Hey guys, Russell here. Well, firstly, let me say thank you so much for all of the comments, the ideas, suggestions, the feedback, etc. about the last video that I did, which was in regards to our charger not being able to use excess solar to charge our XPENG G6. I'm really grateful for the contribution. I read every single comment, and I thought I would do a reply video rather than trying to address each of those comments individually, because there were some similarities between a lot of the comments. But look, I won't drag this on. I've had a couple of days to really think about two things. One, how do we actually use the vehicle on a day-to-day basis? What's the most important thing for us from a convenience point of view? And as you probably saw from our setup, parking the vehicles the way that we do is something that is convenient, and we need that on a daily basis, at least a couple of times a day. The wheelchair access cars coming and going, so we need that set up for convenience. The other thing was, I asked myself, well, why did I want the feature to be able to use excess solar? And I think of all the comments that I read, and they're all terrific, so thank you again for that, but the one that you wrote, Dave, it really struck a chord with me. And I'm just going to very quickly summarise what Dave wrote. He said, while the idea of driving on sunshine is noble, technically it's a complex process, and it's not currently worth the investment, especially if you've got a three-phase home. A smart charger for a three-phase home installed is about $3,000. For every phase, you need a minimum of 1.4 kilowatts of excess energy before any of the chargers will start to send that excess to the vehicle. That was something that I really had to go back over a couple of times and do a little bit more research on. When I think about our usage and the solar and the energy that we generate, even though we've got a 13.5 kilowatt system, I can't remember seeing more than about 8 kilowatts of excess energy, of energy being generated from our solar system. So I'm not sure whether people will hear that and go, oh, there must be something wrong with your system. It should be able to generate 13.5, no problem. Now, we had the system up and running all the way through summer. That's just sort of come to an end now in my part of the world. In terms of what the highest level of excess energy we've been able to push through, I think at one point we were doing about 4.5, almost 5, I think at one point, excess energy going back to the grid. I don't know that there's going to be too many occasions where we'll have plenty of excess that could go to the car. And even if we do, I just don't know what the long-term effect on the battery would be. I can't imagine taking my iPhone and plugging it in for 5 minutes and then unplugging it and then coming back later and plugging it in for another 10 minutes and then doing the same thing, multiple times throughout the day. I worry about what the effect of the battery might be. Look, and again, in terms of our driving habits, our charging habits, we would only charge, I think since we've had it installed, we've charged twice. And on average, it's about 3 weeks between charges. And because we need the setup that we've got at home with the really long cable going over the top of the beam there, it's just convenient, once or twice a month to be able to take that down, plug it in. And when we do plug it in, it works beautifully. Throughout most of the day, we're paying 22 cents. From 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. we're paying 42 cents. So I think it just makes sense when we need to charge, we'll just do it overnight. A lot of the stored energy in the battery will take care of probably a good 10 kilowatts anyway, and then the rest, that 8 cents, can be made up from the grid. So I'm pretty happy with that, and we've settled on that now. And Dave's spot on, it was the fact that it's just a noble idea to think that, well, we could use green energy, we could use the sun to charge the car, and what a great thing that would be. But again, our regular habits, it doesn't really work like that. I am concerned about the long-term effect on the battery, and having to take the cable down and plug it in every time we take the car out and bring it home, that will start to be a bit of a nuisance after a while. Sure, we could swap positions, but then that creates an even bigger nuisance because of our need to be on the side that the wheelchair access car is always parked. So anyway, with all of those things in mind and everything sort of settled down in my mind now, again, I'm really grateful for all of the comments and questions, because that's helped me to come to a position now where I'm really comfortable with how we're going to deal with the charger, and to be able to get 10 or 11 kilowatts and have the car charge overnight for honestly like $3 or $4. It's a pretty good arrangement. So just quickly to finish off, some of the points that came up, you got the wrong car, you should have got a Tesla. Well, to be honest with you, that was the very first car that we looked at when we started on our EV journey. And I'd actually already assumed, oh, we'll just probably buy one of those Model Ys. So I really like the look of the blue one with the black wheels. That's pretty cool. We'll probably just get one of those. Look, when we went to have a look at it, it just wasn't for me. So we moved on with our research. Send the Gen 3 back and get another charger. Well, look, I did reach out to the solar company that installed our system for us and said, hey, look, I'm looking at the Fronius because we've got a Fronius inverter. I'm looking at the Zappi. That was probably one of the first ones I looked at. And in the end, I think I was leaning towards the wall box. And when I reached out to the solar company and said, these are the three that I'm looking at, these are the three that seem to be able to do what I want them to do, which is to use excess solar. And the advice was, well, if you get the Tesla Gen 3, it will do everything that these others will do. It'll do what you want it to do. It will also be able to read your battery and integrate with the app, which the others won't be able to do. And look, it's half the price of the others. In fact, it's about a third of the price, I think, of what the Fronius one would have been. So with that feedback, it does what I want. It integrates with the battery and it's half the price. Hey, that makes sense. Let's go with that one. Because I'd actually discounted the Tesla one pretty much at the start. I didn't really even look at that one. But look, it's a really nice looking unit. I plug it in, it works. It's got a good long cable. It's got a sturdy connection. It just works. But of course you've got to plug it in manually and I'm fine with that now. Now, the lucky last one in terms of comments was that only someone being paid by XPENG would wear a t-shirt like that. Thank you for that comment. Let me know who you are. Send me an email. I'll autograph it for you and send it to you in the mail. I was wondering how long it would take for someone to give me a bit of stick about that. It took longer than I thought, but all right, guys. Well, what a fantastic community. This is still quite new to me after 4 and a bit months of owning an electric vehicle for the first time, and I'm loving the community. It's brilliant. Thank you for your comments again, and I'll see you in the next video.